when you fail, it can really destroy you. It can make you feel badly about yourself. It can bring up all the negative thoughts that you've tried to quiet. It can really, at least for me, it could mess with me. And so I realized that in failing, I was trying to avoid failure because I didn't like how it made me feel after. And once I started going into the growth mindset, I started to realize, wow, I can actually use the failures to empower me. It's all about perspective. And so if I fail, if I fall on my face and everyone's a witness of it, and I pick up and I'm going, yeah, I failed. And you know what? I'm that much stronger for it. And I can say it with utter confidence. Then all the outside noise of like, I told you so, or I knew you were going to fail, it doesn't matter. Because I know that I've just got stronger for it. And no one, no haters, no one, no judge, anyone that's going to judge you can take that away from you. Ever.
Welcome to Black Belt Beauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise.
Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to Black Belt Beauty Radio. I've got an incredible conversation to share with all of you today. I'm so excited to present my badass friend, Lisa Bilyeu, to all of you. Lisa went from housewife to world-class entrepreneur, you guys. And I don't say that lightly. Her and her husband are the founders of the billion-dollar company, Quest Nutrition. Lisa is also the president of Impact Theory, which is ultimately a media company, but is also one of my personal favorite shows that delivers incredibly valuable content that is all meant to, help us all become better versions of ourselves. In my opinion, I think it over delivers. And there are other shows that spin off Impact Theory, like Relationship Theory with her and her husband, Tom Bilyeu. It is so real. I love it so much. Health Theory, where the biology geek in me just is always excited to take in that content. And then Lisa is the host of her own badass show called Women of Impact. A show that brings on very empowered women who are making, very big, important statements in their lives and in this world. It's just an absolute favorite way for me to basically download more content that is elevating my mind, empowering me, inspiring me, all of the above. So, in addition to all of this incredible stuff that Lisa has been doing and is currently doing, Lisa is a woman who is just, keeping it so real in her life and in everything that she's doing and that she's sharing. And I like putting emphasis on that because, it's one thing to be this incredible entrepreneur, but it's another thing to be an incredible entrepreneur who's keeping it real the whole way throughout the mission, throughout the process. And that means, you're not just highlighting all the highs, but you're actually sharing the messy parts, the kind of lows, the challenges too. And that's what I find really, really inspiring, especially in this day and age where we tend to see most of just the highlight reels, right? Lisa doesn't roll like that. And so, upon meeting Lisa, which you'll learn about in this episode, it was immediate that I just adored her. So I already had reverence for, her as, an entrepreneur, what she's been creating, what she's been doing. But when I met her, man, it was just like, can we be friends? She was so present and real with me in the moment. And, I'm so, so grateful that, first of all, she said yes to do a podcast, but then really the yes turned into, yes, let's be friends. And so you guys, I have no doubt in my mind that this conversation is going to elevate your mindset, inspire you, make you believe in that kind of bigger version of you that's living in you. And it's also going to make you want to be Lisa's friend too, and, stay connected to what she's doing. She's doing so much. I can go on, but let me just let you take in the incredible story, process, mindset, heart, and truth that comes from my friend, Lisa Bilyeu. Enjoy. Hi, Lisa.
Hey.
Really, I'm notorious for starting these podcasts with a full-on fucking cackle.
Yeah.
And F-bombs. Hi, thank you.
What's up, honey?
I'm so excited to hang out.
Oh my God, you know I am.
I have to say this on record. You know, when I met you at P1440 in Vegas, there was admiration for what I learned about you, listening to podcasts with you on it, and just knowing what you've been doing and what you're up to. But it's that situation where you just never know how someone's going to be in real life. And, you know, Carrie Walsh, one of my best friends, I feel like everybody knows who this is podcast by now. I was telling her afterwards, I was like, man, you know, because I'm very receptive to truth, to realness, to energy. And immediately going up to you, it was like pause, present. You were right there with me. And I just felt authenticity, and it was so appreciated. Aww. So I just wanted to put that on record in this podcast that, like, from the get, I already had admiration, but then you just expanded it. So I am so excited to be here with you right now.
Thank you. Can I actually just say quickly the flip side of meeting you for the first time? So I'm there, we're doing this interview, and you just come up to me, you're like, Lisa, I think you're freaking great. And immediately it was your energy. Like, you've got this beautiful smile and this super infectious energy, and you just like you speak bad arsery, like. And so I was like, I freaking love this girl. Like, I have no idea who she is, but there's something so freaking cool about you. And I was like, she's just badass, and I'm not even sure why. Like, I don't know why I'm getting that vibe from her right now, but you were so sweet and authentic and cool that I was like, I gotta get to know this woman more.
Wow, damn girl, I'm blushing over here. Thank you.
Oh, God.
That goes straight to my heart. I appreciate you.
Only the truth, my dear.
Always. Okay, so I'm excited. We have so much to cover because you are one of my favorite kind of humans. Can't put you in a box. Dynamic as fuck. And so I want to try and extract as much from you as I possibly can in the time that we have.
Let's do it.
One place I want to start is if and when people ask, what do you do, right? It's like that classic question.
Yeah.
What do you tell them?
It's funny, actually. I just got this question from an Uber driver like 2 days ago. And I was like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh, God, I don't really like saying that. And as I literally was saying it out loud, and I was like, you know what? I was like, it's kind of a weird word. I don't know. Like, and I just started mumbling like I'm doing now. I was like, and the driver's just like looking at me like, all I asked was your one question. But it was weird because so many people now using the word entrepreneur. Not that it's a bad thing at all, but it doesn't actually define you anymore. Like, because so I don't actually, you even said like you don't put me in a box. I don't put myself in a box, which is why I struggle with telling people what I do, because what I do and the businesses I own, like, they all kind of go into one.
Sure. Yeah, no, I figured that, and that's why it's almost like a trick question in a way, because I feel like it can't be that easy to answer, but I also think that there's relevance. It's important because we're in a time, I think, where slowly it's starting to become more accepted that you don't have to be one thing.
Right.
You know, I think that is such a, thing of the past, and it doesn't mean it's easy when you're somebody walking that walk, because it's certainly more easy to just be like, this is who I am, this is what I do, right? So it gets a little tricky when you're like, I'm a, add a little bit of this and that. So it was just fun to ask you the question.
Yeah, and I've actually struggled with it my entire life, because I was a housewife for 8 years, and I didn't like that title either. And so I actually made up a title. Me and my husband came up with a title because I said to him, like, I don't like the feeling of being a housewife, even though I feel like I'm being a housewife to serve our future goal, which was to build a business.
Sure.
And just give context, we had agreed my husband was going to go out and build the business. I was going to support from the house, all the bills, everything. And that was like our dynamic to be able to go to our future goal. And so for 8 years I was a housewife, and I didn't like it. So we ended up giving me a title of President of Bilyeu Enterprises. I have no idea what Bilyeu Enterprises exists.
That is so cute
Enterprises,
and cool.
yeah.
Yes.
But I was like, I understand how that type of thing can affect you emotionally. And if you don't feel good about yourself emotionally, then you're going to act accordingly, right? If you have low self-esteem, you're going to act accordingly. If you feel great about yourself, you're going to act accordingly.
I agree.
And I recognize that housewife didn't make me feel good about myself. Not that it's a bad thing at all.
Sure.
It just, I didn't like it. It didn't make me feel good.
It didn't resonate with you.
It didn't, no.
Yeah. Well, just a snapshot since you brought that up. And I'm so excited because there's so much territory to go into there. But just to give reference, so you and your husband, Tom Bilyeu, you built Quest Nutrition.
We did, yeah.
Right? Like, was it the second fastest private company grown in America? Or
yeah, so second fastest growing company in North America. And we were growing at 57,000% year over year for 3 years. And we went from $0 to $1 billion in 5 years. So pretty quick.
It's incredible.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go back to that. But what I'm so excited to start with is I want to know about like young Lisa, your family, where you come from, your siblings. Where are you from?
Yeah, so from England.
Okay.
London. Brought up in a very traditional Greek Orthodox family. And I really had just a passion for art and creative.
Okay.
And I remember when I was going to college, I really wanted to study film because the goal was at the time I was going to be the first female to win an Academy Award for directing. Now, Catherine Bigelow has since beat me to it, but that was absolutely my goal at the time. And my dad was being very Greek. It was, you should go into academics. Like, what is this movie business? Your head is in the clouds. And I was relentless. And I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And eventually, my dad, in his big, thick Greek accent, turned around to me and said, you're going to be a housewife anyway. It doesn't matter. So really, he was like, you're going to be a wife, so it doesn't really matter what you're going to study.
Because you and Tom had met at that point?
No, just because I'm a woman. Yeah, because yeah.
Amazing. That's okay. How did that make you feel?
It wasn't really surprising because it was cultural. Yeah. I come from a very traditional Greek background, so it wasn't very surprising, but it so didn't ring true to me that even when he said it, I literally thought, cool, if this is what you have to think to let me go and study film, then I'm going to let you think that. And I kind of just was like, great. I didn't let it upset me or affect my self-esteem or anything like that. It kind of, I think, put maybe a little chip on my shoulder, which I think can be very powerful.
That's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, I wonder if that lit a fire in your
Yeah,
ass a little bit.
100%.
Do you have siblings?
I do. So I have an older brother and an older sister and 2 younger brothers.
And are you, oh, cool, big family. Yeah. Me too. Family of 5. Are you guys close?
Well, my parents and my 2 younger brothers actually from my dad's separate marriage.
Okay.
But my parents had a really good divorce, if you possibly can have a good divorce. And so when they were born, they called my mum auntie. I mean, it was yeah, we were very close, and they would come over on Christmas Day and say hi. And so it was, we're a very close family. But I'm the only one, at least at the beginning, that stepped out of the comfort zone completely. My brother, very traditional, went and learned math. My sister was going to be a teacher. So I was the one that was the crazy kid that was like, I'm going to go to Los Angeles and make movies. And I just, no one, it's like, you live in London, B, you're Greek. I don't know why that made a difference, but it somehow did. Yeah. That if you're not born into that world, that it can't be done.
Sure.
And it was very much like the mentality that I was brought up with. And I wish I could tell you that that I had to fight it emotionally. But the truth was, I was like, I really believe this is going to happen.
Where do you think that came from? Was it just like
probably stubbornness, probably really wanting it. I mean, I think, you tell me, right? When you want something, it's like sometimes there's nothing that's going to stop you. And sometimes when you let things stop you, it's actually a good way to assess that I really want it bad enough.
I agree. I love that. Okay. So you had an idea, you had a vision essentially. And you drive forward, so you put yourself in school. You went to school abroad?
No, in London. So I went so I studied filmmaking in London.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you were a tomboy. We started talking about that growing up. So did you play sports?
Not really. I mean, I kind of like dabbled in soccer and things like that, but I loved roller skating.
Yeah, we both see you doing that. You look like your outfits. Like
I had the shorts on and then the big
that's so perfect.
Chunky roller skates.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so you go to school.
Yeah.
And what happens from there? You finish and then you...
So I go to school. I studied filmmaking. By the end of my 3 years, because in England the degree is 3 years, it's not 4. So I finished my degree and I was like, I know how to use a camera. I learned all the old school shoot on film, shoot 8mm and all. Yeah, it's amazing, but it's not useful.
Sure.
So I leave college, or my last kind of month of college, and I'm like, if you put me in the director position right now, I wouldn't have a clue what to do. I'd know how to operate a camera. I'd know how to change a film without light getting exposed, exposing it to light. But I have no idea how to develop a character. I have no idea how to direct. And I was always one, it's like, if I want to know it, then it's up to me to figure it out. And so my friend gave me this brochure and she was like, there's this film school in Los Angeles called the New York Film Academy, and they shoot on the backlots at Universal Studios, and it's like a 3-month private course. You just basically pay money and you go. So I'm like, wow, like this is my breakthrough chance, right?
Totally.
I'm going to go there. I'm going to meet Steven Spielberg. I mean, that was, I'm going to go crush it. And so I was like, great, but where the hell am I going to find, I think it was like $10,000. And I was like, where the hell am I going to find $10,000 for this course? So I turned around to my dad, the guy that didn't believe in me. So I turned around to my dad, and now I have to convince him to give me $10,000 to go to school in America. And so he was like, no. And again, I was just relentless. And eventually he said, all right, put together a plan for me, because my he became a very good businessman, so he was all about business. And he's like, well, put a plan together, do me a pros and a cons, and why, and tell me exactly why you should go. And I took that shit seriously. I was like, I'm not going to miss this opportunity. And I still live by that now. It's like, if you have an opportunity, you better fucking go off. Can I swear? Sorry.
Oh my God, all day long. Okay. I started with 5.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, you did. So I better go after it with the uttermost ferocity, because it may never come again. And that is then down to me on how I took that opportunity. So I put a presentation together. I sit my dad down. I go through a big chart of like, this is why I should, this is the downside, but don't worry about the downside. I've thought about how to overcome it. And I pitched him and he said yes. And so, but then he made me promise. He's like, okay, so once you've done this, you're going to come back to England and you're going to then start looking for a job. You need to promise me that's going to be the next transition. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I went to America, and day one I walk into the film school and Tom is standing there in the office.
I was hoping we were going to let you. I haven't heard that story.
Yeah, he was my teacher. What? He was my film school teacher.
Has this been said before?
Randomly in place, but yeah. And he completely ignored me for 2 months, which of course, if other women listening like me, like he knew how to work it, right? Like a hot guy I was so interested in, and he didn't give me the time of day, which made me even more interested in him.
Of course.
I need to really understand the psychology behind that, but like, and so after the first 2 months, I had 1 month left, and it was on my final, we were just making our final films. Okay. And that was when he started flirting. We exchanged numbers. He asked me out on a date. And that first date was, it was the best day I've ever been on in my life. And I'm not saying that because he became my husband, because I really mean that was the most amazing day.
I feel it right now. Like my heart is expanding for you. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Wow. But happily ever after.
Well, yeah. Well, the reason why it was the best day was I had the perception that it's just going to be couple of dates. It's going to be a hot fling. I'm going to go home to England, have a really cool story to tell my friends. And when I'm 90 and I'm telling my grandchildren that grandma was once a hot, 21-year-old, I'm going to tell them that, yes, I even had, I was hot enough that I hooked up with a hot American dude. Right? So I'm just thinking this is going to be fun.
You were light about it. You weren't attached to the outcome. You were just enjoying.
Exactly. Yes. And he just got out of a relationship. Okay. So he was thinking where the girl was a little clingy. So he's like, this is amazing. She has to legally leave the country because her visa runs out. And so as long as I treat her well and don't disrespect her, this could be just a fun thing. So that first day, I've never been on a date like that where he was so brutally honest about everything. I mean, he spoke about pornography and the fact that, of course, guys watch porn. It was that type of conversation where we were so raw and, about sex and about life. And I wasn't posturing. He wasn't posturing to try and, you just try to impress someone to get that second date. Yeah. And neither of us did that. And, that was 18 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is incredible. So, wow, there's so much to pick apart with that. Geez. Okay. So, I think it's a good segue actually into, because you're saying all this stuff, right? And I'm listening and I'm like, okay, the pitching to your dad and strategies. Yeah. Because one thing that is so obvious to me when absorb you and you and Tom together and things that you guys create, what you're doing now, I'm like, damn, they are full of strategies. Also, you're relentless. Like, that's something that's just continuing and expanding. And then, you know, another part is like, one thing that I really admire, specifically when I listen to you speak about your relationship with your husband, with Tom, your level of communication is, to me, it's outstanding.
Thank you.
And I think that it's very healthy. I feel like it's actually very unique. Like how you just said, first date, you're coming at each other in truth. And there's a lot of rawness there. And I mean, that's, to me, that's the ultimate foundation. That's ideal, right?
Yeah,
but
it's not easy.
No, I can't imagine.
Especially when you have to talk about the hard things and point out in the other person something that isn't good. Because I really do believe if you you have to think truth and speak truth, or you have to hear truth and speak truth. And if I'm really going to have that relationship where we are so intertwined now, I know a lot of people listening probably think that's actually not healthy. But my perspective is I want to be intertwined. I want to feel like we are so freaking united. But you have to work at it, right? You can't just give your trust over to somebody and say, hey, hope you treat my heart well. No, you have to work at it and really build at it. But we really do have a foundation where we are so honest with each other, in spite of knowing that this could really hurt them.
Well, I feel like it's real love. This is just my opinion on
Right.
it. And I feel like it's reverent.
Yeah.
Like when you really, I've said this before in a podcast, but I remember dating someone, this is so many years ago. And then, there were things where he was just, I started to discover insecurities. It was basically kind of deteriorating my, feelings for him in that way, romantically. But I cared about him. And so I had to sit down and I was like, I love you. But we can't go on anymore like this because I know where this is going to go based on where you are. We need to be friends and I can continue loving you. It's just going to be different. And at first it wasn't easy. For the rest of the year, we're still friends to this day. He always comes
Wow,
up.
that's
That was to me,
cool.
like, that was the most respect I ever got. It was hard for you, I'm sure. But anyways, I don't want to get in the weeds because I can really easy, but it's just to say that I understand that is hard, but ultimately what you end up building is what you guys have been building, which is something that it feels very beautiful, very real. So let's go back.
All right, let's go deep. Let's do this.
Okay, so you meet Tom. So obviously that's a wrap on the idea of going back. Where are you with the vision of becoming a director at that point, now that you meet Tom? And I feel like you guys are very similar independently with your relentlessness, with your, having visions and goals and then, driving towards them.
Yeah, and here's the tricky thing though. It has worked so beautifully for us, but at the same time, if we hadn't adopted strategies and tactics and implemented them every single day, it could have been the worst thing that happened to us. Because when you have two people that are very strong-minded, believe in themselves, have extreme confidence, doesn't mean that I don't have days where I have complete failing my confidence in myself. Sure. But as an overall, when you have two people that are like that, sometimes it can create fire, and not the good kind of fire, right? The fire that burns down the forest.
Sure.
So we had to be very careful about how do we make sure that we respect each other, that we hear each other, that we take each other's opinions into account, that we can admit and create a space where you can say, you know what, I'm wrong, and the person doesn't then use it against you. That's very important.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then knowing that if someone's telling you something bad and someone's criticizing you, you have to believe to the core of your being they're saying it because they want what's best for you.
Sure. It's the ultimate trust.
100%.
Right? Knowing where they come from.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
And so having those personalities, we realized from a very early on age, as we were in the dating phase, that we could have this beautiful dance that we could do, but then also we could have the danger in the fire. So how do you make sure that you're utilizing the great things that the fire can bring, and then making sure that you actually don't let it then just burn down the entire house? That took a lot of time. And even now, after 18 years, girl, it's like new strategies. I change, he changes. So something that I thought was important to him last year or 2 years ago is no longer important. So, okay, well, I have to understand who you are today, not who you were a month ago.
That's so amazing. That, like, where does that even come from? I feel like, because when I say it's not common, I don't believe that it is. It's something that it resonates with me. And I thought it's like this fluid and dynamic, ongoing conversation. It's not linear. It's not like, it can't be. It's not fixed. We are not fixed. But it's essentially like you look at it from a very zoomed out perspective, and also like from a place of real love. Like, obviously, what is the goal for both of you? Yeah. You
absolutely nailed it, right? It's sitting down as a couple and going, okay, what is the goal of us collective as a family? So like, as the Bilyeus, what is that goal? What is that goal in business, or even what is that goal in life? Because whether you are in business together or whether you're husband and wife and you want kids, I think you need to have that conversation, because if your goal isn't the same, then you've got a problem.
Sure.
So let's say you're a couple and you're talking about having children, for instance. Well, if your goal is to, let's say, build one of the biggest, most thriving companies in sports, let's just say, it's like, okay, well, what does that actually take? Because how are you going to build that and come home and be have dinner with your family at 6 p.m? I don't know how you do both. And so when Tom and I evolved just in our relationship, and then talking about having kids and then building a business together, we spoke about this, and every step of the way we just, okay, where do you land? Do you still feel the same you did last year, where you said that you wanted to build this business? Do you still want children? Like, I desperately wanted kids when we first got married. Being Greek Orthodox, that I didn't actually think about how I was going to be a director and have a family, but the family thing was definitely in my mind. It wasn't an option. Like, I didn't think of it as being an option.
Right.
And then when I started to find business and I started to love it and I started to really come alive and find myself, I asked myself the hard questions, like, do I still want children? And so we had to sit down again. And the one thing he never did, he didn't throw it in my face saying, well, hang on a minute, when we got married 8 years ago, you said that you did, and now you're switching up the game. It's like, imagine that happened. Like, how can you communicate when someone's going to be dogmatic like that? And you even said, right, it's linear. It's like, you said this and then this. It's like, well, no, I changed. I've evolved.
Right. Yes. And I feel like that's probably, I imagine, one of the hardest things to do in a relationship, because as humans, especially growth-minded individuals, you know, vision-led individuals like yourself and Tom, you're reaching for the change, for the growth of expression, right? So to be able to surf with each other, you know, throughout all of those changes it can't be easy.
Yeah.
I'm giving a lot of respect to the fact that while it's so beautiful and it's so impressive and admirable, I'm also giving credit to the fact that I can't imagine it being easy.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, for some reason, people will look at mine and Tom's relationship and be like, I don't know how you guys do it. It can't be easy. But think about a mother having a kid. Yeah. How freaking difficult is that? Jesus. I mean, you don't even get your sleep.
Yeah.
Think about someone starting a business, right? It's not easy. Now, everyone accepts those things aren't easy, but they're willing to put in the energy, right? To have a kid. No one thinks, well, having a kid isn't easy, so I'm not going to do it. No, you just figure it out.
Totally.
Right? You make sure that you get up in the middle of the night. You read the books you need to read. You adjust as a parent when you see one strategy or technique to teach your kid something isn't working. You do that in your business. If your business isn't getting the right revenue that you need, you have to change strategies. You have to look at how much money you're putting out. You have to look at your marketing plan. And so it's not easy, but people kind of expect it. But with a relationship, for some reason, there's something there that people think, because the heart's involved, it should be easy and that it should come naturally. You should want to be with your partner and love your partner and accept him for everything he is. Hell no. Like, I'm going to be honest, no. Like, I don't want Tom to accept me if I start becoming a bitch, right? Like, right. I want him to call me on it.
Right. Yes.
And so I don't just want him to love me no matter what. Like, no, that's not right.
Yes.
And the same with him. If he's starting to get distracted by business and he's not giving me any time, then no, we have to address that. We have to make sure that we're always aligned. And it's hard, but we're going to do it, just like in the business and just like with kids.
You're committed.
You're committed. And so I think people just need to change the way they see relationships.
Sure.
And put the same amount of energy you would in a business or having a kid into the partner that you're with, and say, do I want this relationship to work? Yes or no? If I want it to work, then I have to give it everything I've got. I can't just expect it to happen. I can't expect romance to just appear, right? It doesn't. You have to work at the romance. You have to tell your partner you want romance.
I love
Sorry, now I'm just like, you've just got me on like a whole tangent here.
No, I love that so much because, again, I think it's a very important message because for the most part, we're still coming off of these movies and this time period where the way it's been fed to us, and I think that's, it's not like it's everyone's fault. It's like it's been fed to us like, oh, when he stops doing this or she stops doing this, like he doesn't care, she doesn't care. It's bullshit. Right. Like I don't connect with that at all. So I love that you just said that. Please, if you want to expand on it.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, you should have seen she just flipped her hair. That was amazing. But here's the thing is that people do expect it to be easy. And once you can just say, no, it's difficult, but I'm willing to put in the effort, right? Now you've got your buy-in. And so with me and Tom, we bought into it. We're like, okay, are you willing to do what it takes? Yes or no? Am I willing to do what it takes? Yes or no? Okay, now we've bought into the effort we're doing. Now how do you actually do it? Then that starts like, okay, step by step. For me and Tom, it was defining our roles in our relationship.
Love it.
Because again, being very strong, for me, I feel like I'm independent, but there's always also a part of me that I'm very traditional. I want to be a good wife. I want to take care of my husband. I want to see him sitting at the head of the table. Like, it's so...
We're so the same right there, girl. I'm so alpha, but I love in the presence of the man that I love to become. He's so alpha.
Yeah.
I interrupted you.
No, please. And in fact, I got a question for you. Yeah. Growing up, did you think that it was possible to have both?
I actually have because my mother... who's a legend. I grew up with a mom who is so strong and such an alpha female. I mean, honestly, everyone in my family is pretty alpha. But she's so feminine and she's so, I'm talking red long nails, red lips, like she's a hairstylist. No, she's fierce. She taught me how to walk. She taught me how to be not a girl, a woman. And I just... I don't know. I think there's something to be said, and this is obviously just me, but being a very strong female, my day-to-day life, I live from a very masculine energy, right? Logic, reason, building businesses, doing it, which is beautiful, and I love it. But my feminine energy is so robust, and I feel like it gets to step on stage. My masculine energy takes a hike when I'm in the presence of my man. And that is... everything that I want. It's like how it just feels so good to me. So I don't know if,
That's amazing because I think that I don't think a lot of women have that. At least for me, I was brought, like my mum is very strong-minded, but she's very nurturing. And so she gave up her entire life to be a mother and to take care of the kids. And when my parents got divorced, my dad was very sweet and he was like, look, I'll keep providing for you financially. You should stay home with the kids because, that's what you want. And I think that that's good for our children. And my mum turned around and was like, well, no, I need to feel like I'm my own woman if we're not together anymore. So if I buy my kids something, I want to know that I earned it. And so here she is, this woman who was independent, but still was like, I'm going to be home at 5 o'clock every day. I'm going to cook for my kids every day. So I didn't really get the entrepreneur woman, like hardcore in business and be with the same type of guy. Yeah. And so I didn't actually realize it was possible until I started saying to myself, well, why not?
That's amazing. That little piece right there, like where does that come from, right? Because most people would be conditioned in that situation to be like, it's not possible. Yeah. And I think the reason why I'm putting emphasis and a little pin there is because that bleeds into so many other areas of your life. Well, why not? Yeah. Why not, right? So then...
It came from a naive place because I really meant, but why not? From as a kid, I was like, I don't understand why. Why can't I do that? It really was naivety at the beginning. Amazing. And understanding when people would give me a reason that it actually didn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, well, I can find a reason around that. Like I can find something that can actually push back on that. And so when I realized that people's reasonings usually come from their conditioning.
Yes.
Then I was like, okay, it's their conditioning that makes them think it's not possible. And so and now I almost, anytime someone says, and I'm like, why not? It comes naturally. I've kind of trained myself to say it.
Well, curiosity is so essential, right? I mean, it's important. I feel like for so many different reasons. Continue. I cut you off.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no. I can't remember where. Oh, so I didn't think that initially that I could be this badass, independent woman and want a husband to lead. I didn't think it was possible. I thought it was very confusing for people, and so like that. Oh, that doesn't put me into a box, right? Like, what box am I supposed to fit in?
Right.
And then eventually, having a husband who actually loves seeing me empowered, loves seeing me be my own person, loves seeing me be confident and independent, and encourages it, is obviously very important, because I think you do need that support system, versus if you want to be that and you've got a partner that's trying to hold you down, that just becomes toxic, right? Where someone's trying to hold you back.
Yeah, I agree. There's something very powerful when you're with someone who, you know, in our case, it's like you're a man, my man, who, it's the same deal. Like, I'm empowered, you know, but I can still feel like that little safe, you know. Right. But it's.
And sometimes I'm not going to be ashamed to say, sometimes I want to be like this little softie, and I want him to protect me, and there's nothing. And I used to be embarrassed to say that, right?
Really?
Because I thought, if I'm this strong, confident woman, can I? Or is it right to admit out loud I want to be protected by a man? Right? It's like, isn't that contradictory, Lisa?
Sure.
Like, aren't you actually saying two different things? It's like, no, I want my husband. I don't need him. And I think that's where the difference came once I understood that. Was that, no, I can take care of myself. And I believe that to my core, but I don't want to do it on my own.
Girl. No, it's so beautiful, and there is a fine line between that want and need.
Yeah.
But to know and to carry that level of confidence, like, I am resilient and I got my shit. However, I want my man to also, you know, participate in this safety feeling, and so I can just it's beautiful.
But making sure, I kind of derailed us a little, but making sure you have those talks with your partner. So what Tom and I first did is when we first got married, in fact it was after, we probably should have done this before. In fact, we should have done this before. So anyone listening right now, do it as soon as you possibly can. But we sat down and we said, all right, what type of husband do you want to be? And what type of husband do I want you to be? And you can't think about the other person's feelings. You can't. So if I said, I want you to be a stay-at-home dad, I have to be brutally honest, knowing that he's an entrepreneur and he would never do that, but I have to be honest. Now, I didn't say that, but I'm just saying, whatever it is that you really feel, you have to say, even if it's the complete opposite to what you know they want, because you at least have to get it out on the table.
Sure.
So we created a space where he said what he wanted as a husband, or to be a husband, and then I said, and then we did it reverse. What type of wife do I want to be, and what type of wife does he want me to be? And those are very powerful questions, and we ask each other almost every year.
It's wonderful.
Because it changes.
Absolutely. I can imagine. I mean, it does. It has to, right?
Yeah.
With what we were just saying. But it supports your truth to continue to evolve together. And I feel like, and ultimately, I really believe that this helps to keep respect there.
100%.
I'm someone who really believes, and this is just my love experience, the minute I started to lose that respect,
interesting,
I would fall out of love. It's like I need that ultimate level of reverence where I look at you and I'm like, my man. And I don't give shit away, especially at 40 years old. It's like, no, you have to really be bringing it on that level. And, you know, fortunately I have that. But in the past, like when, you know, just looking back, like when I would step down, it was always like, because certain things. And then I just wasn't looking up anymore at that, or even eye level. You know,
that's great self-awareness, by the way, right? Because I'm sure now you probably use that as like a little signal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think that my entire life, if that is one thing that I can confidently say, I've always had a deep level of self-awareness, and it just continues to expand because I nurture it. Do you feel that? Actually, I want to ask you that. Like growing up, do you feel?
self-awareness.
Yeah, like just a connection.
Not
to
really growing up. No, it's really been since I've started developing the mindset and really working on growth. And when I was a kid, oh God, I was the one that just like defend my own, protect my ego, right?
Okay.
So I was like the opposite, like make excuses on why something is impossible. And it's funny how like actually now as I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, wow, I'm actually contradicting myself, because when I was a kid, I used to say, why not?
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's fascinating.
I love it.
I didn't even realize that about myself.
Well,
because I used to say why, but I think I used to protect myself with knowing, can it really be done, and kind of giving myself the out.
No, that makes sense.
Wow,
though.
that's a revelation.
Well, it's scary. Like it can be.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Again, I have to be so mindful of your time.
Oh,
There's so
bless
much-
you. No, I love talking to
I
you.
love
you know.
talking to you. I want to take us back. So, okay, you and Tom, you're now together.
Yep.
You're not going back. Obviously, you depart from, I imagine, directing, like that vision, because now you're going forward with Tom, and I don't know where.
Well, so we dated for 2 years. We went back and forth. We got married in England because I've got a massive Greek family. Don't know if you ever saw my big fat Greek wedding. All right. So that came out the same year as we got married.
No way.
And same summer. And we didn't see the movie till after we got married. Now, when I say it was an exact mirror, except for the Windex, actually, is the only thing. But from the way the grandparent like kind of disappears and just starts screaming and swearing in Greek, that's true. Tom's family, we had 190 guests were my family.
Wow.
And 10 were his. 10 people, not 10. So his family comes over, this white boy, his white family comes over from Tacoma, Washington, and my dad invites him over for dinner, and we do this massive barbecue, and we all cheers, and we've got this really strong drink that is, it's called Zivania, which is kind of like ouzo. It's so high in alcohol, it's ridiculous.
Oh, no.
And so we all do a cheers, and his poor stepfather thinks it's a shot, and you're supposed to sip it because it's so strong. And he chugs this shot, and his whole face goes red, and my entire Greek family starts laughing. And, I know, sorry to completely derail us, but the movie was our life. That was our marriage.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
So he got christened. In fact, he actually got christened so that we could get married in a Greek Orthodox church. He learned how to speak Greek so he could speak to my family.
What?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
He had a Greek
That is
tutor.
not an easy language.
No, it's not at
Wow.
all. So he was definitely dedicated. And so that, I think, was a big thing that going against, like, I was the first person to marry outside of my Greek religion. And so it was very hard, I think, for my dad to accept. At first, like, my husband actually went to my dad and asked for his blessing to marry me, and my dad said no.
Oh, wow.
And so Tom said, thank you, I really respect you, but I'm still going to marry her. I'm still going to ask her anyway. And that's actually a really great story, because my dad basically had come from the mountains, like donkeys and mountains, like huts in the village in Cyprus, to being his self-made businessman. And so Tom comes along, he sees this poor American guy come along, and he's like, everything that I've built to protect my family, you're trying to take my daughter away. And so he said to Tom, how do you expect to provide for my daughter? And Tom said, I know what you see now is like this broke, dumb kid, but one day, sir, I'm going to take care of her. And, you know, and my dad's thinking, yeah, like, what the hell do you know? You don't even have a job at this point, you know, because he'd moved to London for us to get married, so he didn't have a job.
Right.
Oh, sorry, no. He'd moved to London to visit me.
Okay.
And at that point, he was transitioning. So my dad's like, you don't really even have a job properly right now anyway. So it was one of those where he said, thank you, sir. I respect you, but I'm still going to propose. And then cut to 10 years later, my dad comes to America for the first time, and he hadn't seen Quest at this point. Oh, wow. So we'd been building it. He'd heard how well it was doing, but he doesn't understand that world. He doesn't understand fitness and protein. Sure. He comes from, you know, very traditional business world. So he didn't get that health side of it. And so he didn't really think, I think it must have thought like I was kind of lying or like exaggerating the truth maybe. So he comes over, and we've already been announced as the second fastest growing company. We've got 400,000 1,000 square foot of space.
That's crazy.
Warehouse after warehouse after warehouse, production facility. We had 1,400 employees.
And side note, I just want to insert this for people who maybe haven't. I forget. I think it was Tom on Mind Pump or something. I just remember hearing one part. Oh, there were several parts, but this one, I want to insert this.
Yeah, please.
There was a point where it was like looking for coins between couch. Like,
yeah.
I mean, and I just want to put that there because just to amplify, like, fuck, what you guys had to do.
Yes.
To get to this point.
So when we started Quest, we literally said, okay, we could lose the house that we're living in. I have to start collecting coupons because right now the way our lifestyle is, it just won't suffice. I stopped Starbucks. I even put this post once that I started using, the cotton pads that you use on your face.
Yeah.
I would reuse them because I was trying to save money. So I was like, well, if I reuse them now, I've just doubled my money because but that's how I started to think, because I was like, okay, we're starting this new business. My dad, of course, thought we were crazy, and a lot of people thought we were crazy. But yeah, cut to now Quest is, valued at $1 billion. My dad comes to visit, and he comes with my stepmom and my brothers, and he's like, oh, take me to the facility. So we walk in, and it's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, right? It's like freaking candy, not obviously candy, but bars are coming off the machine, potato chips are being made, like our protein powders are being made. It was like insane. And we've got 1,400 employees, so it's like, a sea of people. And we're walking around, and my dad's jaw is just like wide open. And Tom turned around to him and he said, Andres, my dad's name, Andres, remember when you asked me how I was going to take care of your daughter? And he said, yes. He's like, how am I doing now? Oh. And my dad just started crying tears of joy. Right? And it was in that moment, my dad, like, he was so proud. It was like, I'm so proud of you guys, because I didn't believe in it. But it was that moment that made him realize what we had done, but also made me and Tom realize, I think, that our relationship, our business, it's really the important thing is that we believed in it. We believed in our relationship. We believed in our business. Now, look, that's not to say that we didn't fail a million times. We've had crazy arguments. We've developed businesses that failed. Before Quest, we had a photography business. We had a website business. All these things that people don't see. But as long as you guys, like, especially if you're in a relationship, that you're both on that same page, you're both going after it together, you're both bought in together, you have that same goal, then it's like, whether you actually succeed or fail, either one, it's like, at least you're doing it together with joy. And so with Quest, with our relationship, it was just a reminder that, you know what, we're on the right path. We're listening to our own guts. We're listening to our own mind and our own heart. And we're not letting all the outside noise affect us. Even when it's outside noise, but people love you, right? They're saying it to protect me.
Yeah, sometimes I think that's the hardest. Because they're the closest, they're valued opinions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you have to just be so steady within yourself and what your vision, essentially, whether you're doing it with someone or doing it on your own, to just be like, I'm on my highest path in life. Like I don't have all the answers. I can't guarantee shit. But I just have a feeling that is undeniable.
Exactly. And if it fails, though, I just want to repeat this.
Please.
If it fails, it's okay, because at least you went for it. Now, if you can look back and say, okay, it completely failed. I believed in this so much. I announced it to all my friends, to all my family, social media. I left this job to do it. Like all these things that people, do to really try that new path. And it fails. The important thing is to say, what did I learn from that?
Yeah. So let me ask you, what do you think would be the greatest kind of intangible that you, if you had to put it in one or two words or perspective, just that you gained from those failures? Yeah,
it really is the mindset. Because when you fail, it can really destroy you. Mm-hmm. It can make you feel badly about yourself. It can bring up all the negative thoughts that you've tried to quiet. It can really, at least for me, it could mess with me. And so I realized that in failing, I was trying to avoid failure because I didn't like how it made me feel after. And once I started going into the growth mindset, I started to realize, wow, I can actually use the failures to empower me. It's all about perspective. And so if I fail, if I fall on my face and everyone's a witness of it, and I pick up and I'm going, yeah, I failed. And you know what? I'm that much stronger for it. And I can say it with utter confidence. Then all the outside noise of like, I told you so, or I knew you were going to fail, it doesn't matter, because I know that I've just got stronger for it, and no one, no haters, no one, no judge, anyone that's going to judge you can take that away from you ever.
That's badass. That was the word, because I feel like you have to gain confidence after that, because you get back up. It's the fucking getting back up part that is like, to me, it's the most powerful piece. Rocky's been my hero forever, still is, it's that underdog story of like, just get back up. So failure is like a very interesting word to me, because I just don't even know if I believe in it. I believe it's just, this is kind of how, it's like there's a glitch to upgrade, right?
Yeah, I love that.
But it all boils down to what you said. It's perspective.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, you guys kick ass. You build this incredible company. And now you guys start to, because you're up to a lot of amazing stuff now. Impact theory, relationship theory, woman of impact, health theory. I'm hooked. I've been hooked. It's so good. It's like real, great, valuable content.
Thank you.
In a world of like just where it's like there's so much inflammatory content, there's so much like just like too much. I feel like what you guys are putting out is piercing through loudly.
Wow.
I mean, it is to me for sure. So can we talk about that transition a little bit, and then I definitely want to get down on women of impact, because yes.
So I think it all comes down to the fact that I try to assess how I'm feeling in certain moments, because I think like seasons, we do change. And what makes me super happy right now may not be making me happy in a year. And I refuse to ever be that person that blinks and 10 years have gone by and I don't know where my life has gone. And I'm very conscious of the fact that us as humans, it's a possibility. So I go, okay, I need to check in with myself on a regular basis. Is what I'm doing serving my bigger goal? Is it making me happy? Am I loving it? Because the truth is, look, when people say like, I want to wake up every day and do something that I love, the truth is you're going to do stuff that you freaking hate, right? Like even if it's in service of something that you love, then that's okay. Because I can spend a week doing things that I absolutely despise, but I remind myself of why I'm doing it, that it's for the future goal. And then I get enthusiastic and I, continue. I can't have too many weeks like that. But so anyway, so I definitely assess. And so in assessing things, I go, okay, what are the things that I'm actually really enjoying right now? And when we were at Quest, I was running our media department. So I started off in our shipping department. We were making bars by hand and rolling pins and knives. But then when we started getting bigger very rapidly, I was, okay, I'm not happy anymore. I've helped build the business. I've built up our shipping department to $80 million. I had no shipping experience. I had 40 employees underneath me. I was a housewife before that. So for 2 years, I like trained myself and figured that shit out. And then after 2 years, I was like, I'm burnt out. I hate this shit. I don't want to be in a warehouse. Like that wasn't where my passion and drive started. I started this business because I really believed in helping people and the product, but I don't want to blink in 10 years and still be in a warehouse. So then I went back to what makes me happy and what is my, true passion, and it's media, it's content. So I was like, well, okay, we're fairly small. We're doing these videos with like our cameras or with our phones. Like, is this a world? This is actually before social media and Facebook. People started to do content for it. So we're, doing these little 15-second videos that Instagram, you can post these videos on some platform called Instagram that's only 15 seconds. And so we basically started figuring it out. And then we saw the opportunity to build a media department in Quest. So that's when I started evolving. Okay, well, now I'm going back to my passion. Cut to about 1.5 years, 2 years later, I started realizing again the content that I was doing in the media department now was all self-serving. It was selling product. Now look, that's fine. You have to do it for the business. It's just my heart wasn't in it anymore. And so we were doing this one show that was kind of on the side called Inside Quest, which if anyone has seen that Simon Sinek video that went viral on Facebook about millennials, that was our show. Oh, wow. And so we got a hit of over like 200 million views. And so it was freaking incredible. Like the show was affecting people way beyond just our commercials we were doing, right, to sell our product. And so me and my husband sat down and we're like, we really love like what we're doing here. And it's like, no bullshit. Like once you have the financial stability, it does allow you to look at your life in a different way. And so we gained this financial stability and we said, what makes us happy every day and what is our mission? And our mission was to really help people. And then we're like, all right, well, no bullshit. Like, let's play this game. No bullshit. What would it actually take to help people around the globe? Quest Nutrition is amazing, and the product is helping people who are fighting with obesity, people who are fighting with anorexia, because it was actually a product that people could introduce calories. They felt like psychologically they could bring calories in because it was healthy. So it was actually helping the anorexic community. And so we're like helping these people. But then there was someone like my mum who was actually gaining weight. And in the years of Quest developing, she got clinically obese. And I'm like, something's wrong here. Yeah. Same with Tom's mum. Tom's mum was clinically obese. And we're like, we can throw money at the situation now, right? I can hire you a coach, mum. I can hire you a private chef. And she was still gaining more and more weight. And we're like, we're missing something. Something's not right here. If you can have a product, if you can have money, if you can have the facility to be able to lose weight and you're gaining, what's wrong? It's the mind.
Totally. I'm smiling because I'm waiting for the word.
Right.
Yes.
It's if you have anxiety, if you have depression, you're not going to the gym. You're not choosing a protein bar over a candy bar. And so if you really, no bullshit, want to affect people on a global scale in a 360-degree way, I have to do more than just a protein bar. And the show was, at the time, was a great way of going, wow, okay, this is actually affecting people's minds. Because the show was bringing on influencers, people, scientists, neurologists, athletes talking about the mindset. And at the time, Quest was just a thriving beast. So it's, you know, his business partners were only interested in the body. They weren't interested in the mind. And so we're like, cool, like this is the time to like put your money where your mouth is and really say like, all right, if I'm really in, I'm fucking in. And so we took that and we built, you know, studios in our house, and we have a team of 25 people that come to our house every single day. And then the question I get asked is, isn't it hard to work out of your house with this many people and shoot? And the question is, no bullshit, what would it take? It would take me opening my house up to make the content, to get the content out. And so if that's the answer, am I going to be the one that's going to get in the way of my own success?
I think it's so important that you just said that, because one thing when I coach people, and even just myself, you have a vision, you have a goal. One thing that's really important, we can all talk about what we're going to do, but what people usually don't do, what I love to implement, what are you not willing to do? You have to look in that space, because if you don't, you're just kind of setting yourself up essentially for failure in a lot of ways, because if one little thing from over here that you didn't look at starts to pop in, it can derail you or completely stop you in your tracks. But when we really get a grip in that space, I feel like first of all, there's more realness, like through the, okay, like I know what I'm willing to do, I know what I'm not willing to do. It also, at times, maybe in the example of your life, maybe there's days you wake up and you're like, fuck, I don't really want anyone in my house, but I know that this is essentially a part of what I'm willing to do, so I'm gonna get up, have my coffee, and get on with it. Yeah, whatever. I just think that that's so great that you just put that out there.
Yeah, because look, if you're not willing to do it, that's actually okay. Yeah. But then when you blink, and if you haven't reached your goal and you're wondering why, just remind yourself that you weren't willing to do that. Now that's again fine. There are things I'm not willing to do. Yes. Right? I'm not willing to cross my moral code or go against my moral code. I have a compass I'm not willing to go, right? So there's things that for me, I am very aware, if I don't do this, it's going to hold me back, and I tell myself I'm okay with that. And if I don't succeed because I've made this decision, I'm going to remind myself that I chose not to do it. Exactly. And then I can be okay with it.
I love that so much. That's a gem right there.
Thank you. So literally when we started Impact Theory, we're like, okay, well, we're building the studio in our house, because if we're putting money to rent a studio, what does that cost? Okay, with this money, what else can we do with it? So we decided, okay, for the first couple of years, we'll just shoot from our house. And at the time, there was only 7 of us, and now we're 25 within 2 years. And it's like, okay, I don't know how sustainable this is in the long term, just for space. But when it came down to like, are you okay with it? I just kept saying yes, because I reminded myself of the goal I'm really trying to do. And I really do want to affect people on a global scale, on a 360 way. And to do that, it means I have to say yes to things that sometimes I don't want to say yes to. It means I'm going to have to give up every room in my house except for my bedroom. And so if it doesn't succeed, I can be okay with that. And I can say, you know what, Lisa, you gave it your all. And you know what, for whatever reason, and hopefully I figure out what that reason is that I didn't succeed, but that reason is okay, because I've made these decisions with full clarity.
Yes, that's the key word right there. That's so perfect and beautiful, and I love it. Yes, it's so important. Also, I feel like that kind of gives you a break in one space where you're just like, okay, like I'm getting after this with everything I got. I'm very clear on what I will, what I won't. And one thing that I want to expand on really quickly is what you said. It is, you have a very strong why. And I always speak to this, that like, listen, people ask me all the time, like, how do you, starting a podcast is an example, right? Or even like going to lose weight. If you just want to lose weight to, I don't know, because you want to look great in your jeans. I mean, hey, great. That's a great reason. I just don't think that's going to get you out of bed on a cold winter morning and get your ass to the gym. And before, your kids wake up, there's got to be the why. If the why has any kind of weakness in it, so will the process. I really believe that. So will, actually, the better word is the commitment to the process, right?
100%.
So you guys,
and that's the thing, like when your business is struggling, when there are moments where you're like, this whole thing could come crumbling down, do you like just fold up and move on? Or do you like, no, I need to like do everything I possibly can in my power to make this work? And there are times in Quest, Impact Theory, and Women of Impact where there have been moments where shit's hit the fan and shit's gone wrong. And it's like, all right, this is where you get tested, Lisa. How badly do you want it? Are you willing to do this and that? And sometimes it's no, and sometimes it's yes, right? But I'm okay with it. I just always ask myself that question.
Your self-talk is amazing.
Oh,
it's very important.
Yeah.
I think because you can be your best friend or you could be your worst enemy. And I believe like, wait, shit's already hard. Like you have a very lofty vision. It's beautiful. Why the fuck are you gonna get in your way and make it harder on yourself? No, you gotta be your own best friend and be like, okay, like listen, coming over here, there was a shit ton of traffic. I'm just going to sidestep for a second to put more emphasis on this. I overturned. Took me 25 extra minutes, right? I like to be early. That's just me, even if I'm sitting in my car. And now I'm looking at my Waze and I'm like, motherfucker. But here's one thing that I do. One thing that I find is so sexy is composure, right? And I'm that self-awareness. That best friend, I'm just like, you're going to get there either right on time or like 2 minutes. You're good. You got this. You got it, girl. Listen to fucking Salt and Pepper Shoop. I'm like, hey. I'm like, literally. And
you're my girl. Salt and Pepper.
Oh, God, Shoop on repeat. Like what?
Yeah, baby.
But, and I did. I got here, pulled up at 59, and I was like, all right, And the point really is like, I could have fucking floundered in that moment. Become my own word. Oh, fuck, you missed the turn. And what is that going to do?
Right.
Make me really uncomfortable, probably make me late, maybe even get me in an accident. Like, what the fuck is that going to do? So,
It's actually very important, though, to remind yourself, because people look at the big things, but they actually don't necessarily think about those small little moments where you have 10 of those in a day. And it's like, no wonder you're a ball of stress.
Exactly. Well, listen, like I say this all the time, like inches build miles.
Yeah, I love that.
And so when you can like pay attention to the inches and the steps on, that's when the big picture turns out to be something that not only can look better, but what I really focus on is how the fucking whole thing is feeling.
Right.
Feeling is everything,
Yeah.
right? Okay, rabbit holes.
I had no self-awareness though as a kid. So this has been absolutely total growth.
I love that you're saying that, because you know what I want to ask you right now?
Yeah, please.
While you're going through this process
Yeah.
of going from Quest to now Impact, and you're like, hey, well, you know, this worked, you know, but the content now is not serving me. What were you doing to, like, what books were you reading? Where were you going on that level, like in self-development?
Yeah.
Do you have?
So, well, I was a housewife, I really believed like we had the mission. My husband was going to, you know, be an entrepreneur. We were going to make money so that we can make our own movies. Because actually I'd got a gig on a movie set, and I was like, this is my breakthrough. This is so exciting. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to impress them. I'm going to blow them away. And, I hated it. I hated working on a film. The director was quite nice.
Were you acting, or were
No.
you-
So I was actually the set photographer.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I was taking all the stills for like the movie posters and stuff like that. And so I'd got this gig. I was so excited. And I got on set, and like the DP, the director of photography, was completely rude to me. The actress started yelling at me because I was taking her photo.
Oh, wow.
And in case you didn't miss that, guys, I was hired as a photographer. so the actress was freaking out. Wow. I was like, well, I've got to take photos. It's my job. So I was trying to sneak photos. Well, she caught me sneaking photos. She told the director. The director told me to stop taking it. So I stopped. By the end of the day, the producer came up to me and said, where the hell are my photos? So that's when I was like, I freaking hate this Hollywood shit. Like, people are willing to step on you and be me. They don't treat you like a human being. And that was the first realization of a dream maybe not coming into a reality. And anyway, so the reason why I brought that story up is because when I told Tom, and he'd had an experience where he wrote a script and they completely butchered his script. He was like, babe, if we're going to make the movies we really need to make, we have to control the resources if we want to control the art. And so, of course, being naive enough to be like, sure, let's go make money. And so that's how we started on the entrepreneur journey. It was the goal. We're going to make enough money that we can go make movies. Okay, how do we do that? You go and work. I'll take care of everything at the house. You don't even have to think about what you're going to eat. You don't have to think about the clothes you're wearing. I would put out his clothes for him.
Amazing.
Because
one less decision.
Exactly.
Yes.
We learned about Steve Jobs, that he never used to really think about the shirts he would wear. He would wear the same color because it was a decision he didn't have to make, that he could save for the business. And so that's how we structured our lives. You're going to go to work. I'm going to stay at home. This is what he has to do. This is what I have to do. We're all doing this in order to serve our bigger mission. So it turned into, though, 8 years of me being a housewife, and I didn't expect that. And over those 8 years, I realized now looking back that I was self-soothing myself by finding things to fill my day with. So finding pride in being able to look, babe, I baked this great cupcake for you. I freaking hate baking, but I had to find pride for my own emotional stability.
Sure.
And once I started a Quest, where it literally started, like, Tom was like, babe, we're doing this new business. Do you mind just helping out? And I was like, no, of course I don't mind helping, because they were still, he was still at his tech company. And it's like, you just have to ship a couple of bars from the rug. Just take them to the post office. The post office around the corner, go buy a stamp. I mean, it started off there. Well, like I'd said earlier, blink, 2 years later, I'm still shipping. I'm running our entire shipping department, 40 employees. They were ex-convicts because our offices were incompetent. And for us to be able to afford, we basically put out a call and we said, look, we don't care what your past is. We don't care if you're an ex-convict or not. If you come in with the drive and willingness to work hard, we will give you a chance.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely... I have a lot of pride over that, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I had ex-convicts working in my shipping department. I had this one guy, he was 6'5", and for your listeners, I'm 5'1". But I had to make sure that they couldn't walk over me, because in those moments I was like, this is my company. I have a job to do. I'm not going to let my husband down. I'm not going to let my husband's business partners down. I've got a job to do, and I don't care if you're 6'5". I don't care if you're an ex-convict. You're not going to destroy this department. And so I'm going to make sure that I'm a good leader. And so I had to harden, and I had to freaking harden fast, because I spent 8 years as a nurturer.
So the fucking Wonder Woman was coming out.
The fucking Wonder Woman was coming out. I pulled out my cape. And I just like, the music started playing, my shield came out, but I had to figure it out, and I had to
researching. Like, were
so
you reading books,
not
and looking into was there anybody really inspiring you?
Initially, no, because I didn't understand that world. I didn't understand podcasts weren't a thing back then.
Sure.
I didn't understand the growth mindset world. I was just like, head down, get shit done, do what you have to do. Okay, this strategy worked. Okay, with that guy, I have to swear at him, because if I don't swear at him, he doesn't react. Okay, this guy over here, he's got a very sweet heart, so I have to actually be really sweet to him and coach him. Right? Like I started figuring it out without really understanding.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah. But look, because of that, I fumbled, I failed, I was a terrible boss for years. I was terrible. I made massive mistakes. Sometimes I was a misery to work under, because I just thought barking orders at people was the way to do it instead of motivating people. So I freaking stumbled. I failed a lot. And even going from Quest to then Impact Theory, I was running our media department at Quest, even though I was, technically an owner, but then coming over to Impact Theory and then changing, becoming the president of this company, and then building a Women of Impact, and now having women look up to me to tell my story. Like, I never thought that was ever going to happen. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I never thought of myself as being a talker, really, in regards to like
introverted.
I am, yes, which is weird, because people are like, there's no way.
Same with me, girl. People are like, I'm like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I am absolutely introverted. But I think when you're charismatic, that's where people get thrown off. Like, no way. But it's like, no, me time. I need to be,
Yeah, you asked me what, like, the best weekend is. It's me in my pajamas.
Totally.
At home. Like, honestly, I'm even going to reveal something. Like, if I haven't even showered on a Saturday, that's a freaking good Saturday, because that means I haven't left the house. I didn't need to leave the house. It's a great indicator.
Oh, that's so good.
But yeah, so I can't remember what.
No,
everyone's like, now, like, oh god, she doesn't shower on Saturdays.
Hard stop. It's perfect. No, but basically you transitioned. You figured you were stumbling a lot.
Yes.
And then I'm like, shit, where were
I know, because so here's a punchline, I guess. When everything I've done in my life, I've set a goal. It's so fundamentally important, but your goal has to have utter clarity. So for instance, my goal with Quest Nutrition, it wasn't like earn this much, which is fine if that is. Mine was, I want to be in an airport and see someone eat the protein bar that doesn't know me. Now, when I break that down, because that's an emotional thing, like that would make me so happy. Now, when I break down to what does that actually mean, it means we need to get enough distribution to be able to be in airports, that we're selling our product in there. Okay, well, to get distribution in airports, what does that mean? It means we have to hit a certain amount of sales figures for them to take us seriously, for us to be in discussions with them, right? So then it becomes very active. Okay, what are those points I have to hit in order to get that emotional pleasure that I seek?
That's fucking badass. Right there, what you just did. That just inspired the fuck out of me. Seriously. Because you're right. First it's emotional, but then that strategy mindset comes in. You're like, but actually, boom, 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 it's this.
Yeah.
How cool.
So can I tell you two of the things, my new two then? So that was for Quest.
Okay.
So Impact Theory. Our goal is, so we're now affecting the mind, and we sat down and we said, okay, we do this talk show with my husband where he's the host, and it's doing extremely well. And we said, okay, right now we get, though, it's still a niche market. If you're into mindset, then you're going to probably find us. If you're not into mindset, how do we help the other people? The people that want a better life but don't know how to get it. What are the things that people do innately? They watch television, they watch movies. It's like with Quest, we did the same thing. What do people innately like to do? They like to eat food that tastes good. Right. So we said, okay, well, then you have to leverage their behavior. Don't try and change it. Don't try and give people chicken and broccoli. Yeah. Leverage their behavior that they like food that tastes good, and then give them something that tastes good that happens to be good for them. So we were like, okay, what's the content version of that? It's movies. It's television.
It is. It's true.
How did you feel when you went and watched Wonder Woman?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
how did you feel when you left there? Yeah.
Yeah, elevated.
Badass. I can do anything.
Yeah, empowered.
So that's how content and can affect people.
Yes.
So we understood it's narrative content. It's entertainment. It's how you affect people on a global scale, not just people that are in the mindset market. So going back to the no bullshit, what would it take? We have to build a studio. We have to build a studio that can create that type of narrative content. Like Disney is the most magical place on earth, we want Impact Theory to be the most empowering place on earth. And so what is that vision that I have of our success? It is winning an Academy Award. And so I'm marking it down, I'm saying it in public, and I'm saying it in public on purpose because I want to be held to it, that our company will win an Academy Award for producing or something like that piece of content. And when we're up on stage, my husband is going to dip me in that romantic Prince dipping kiss that we always do. If you check out my social, you will see photos of us doing it. We've done that for the last 18 years. He dips me in this really romantic pose, and we do it in New York. We do it wherever we go, when we tour. And so I said to him, if we win, or when we win an Academy Award, will you do that on stage? And he's like, hell yeah.
I fucking love it. Lisa.
So
I'm energetically manifesting it for you, with you. I'm throwing my energy towards it. That is, I see it. And I think it's so important that you actually have like a detailed vision too, right? Like I feel are you into visualization?
I am in those types. Like I actually don't do walls, which I know a lot of people do. Like where they put pictures on the walls. Yeah. I can see it. I can see Tom dipping me. I can see everyone going, what the fuck? This is Academy Awards. Why is he doing that? But I can see all this, and I can see it so clearly, and I can see my mum crying when she sees it. And so I think that's very important. And the reason why, like, I feel it to my core.
Exactly. Yes.
And with Women of Impact, this is very grand, people. This is very grand. But I'm going to say it in a way.
Drop it.
When a woman becomes president of the United States, and they accredit things that helped change them as a human being, I want at some point for them to say, Women of Impact. Now, it doesn't have to be, obviously not the sole thing, but somehow something we've done, whether it's been the show, whether it's been the female empowerment superhero book that I'm putting together, whether it's just any type of content that we've done that has somehow, some way affected them so profoundly that it's allowed them to make one change in their life to become the president of the freaking United States, girl. That's my dream.
That's like microphone drop.
It's so fucking ballsy and it's so hard, but it's grand.
I feel like if you don't have something hard and scary and like, I'm fucking kind of crazy, but if you don't have that, it's not, you're not doing it.
Right.
Like, fuck it. Go for it.
Exactly.
Right?
So now what I have to do, which I haven't done yet, this is my next stage of my evolution in 2019, it's break down what does that actually look like. Like the no bullshit. If I really want a female as a, the next, not the next president, but a female president at some point in my life. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that means I have to affect, and I have to do the math, but I have to figure out how many women do I have to affect? Yeah. What age group do I need to affect for them to, in order to affect them enough to be able to grow up and change enough to become, the woman, female president. And so I really need to break all that shit down. And it means like, how many views do I have to get? How much following do I have to get? What type of reach do we need? What countries do I need? Do I need to reach another country? Is it just the United States president? Or would I be happy with the president in, Europe or prime minister?
What a fun project.
Right.
Like to cerebrally go on like, okay, that's amazing.
But like actually do it.
Yeah.
Because if it's just a fun, grand idea, but you actually haven't figured out how to do it, it will forever stay a fun, grand idea.
I just posted this yesterday. I'm like, if you don't have strategies towards your goals or vision, I usually like the word vision. I call them fairy tales of the mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
really
love
what
that.
they are.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like you have to get strategic. I have no doubt that you're going to manifest that.
Thank you.
It
may take 20 to 30 years. I am saying that. Like I get it's a lofty goal.
Yeah.
But in fact, one thing, I'm sorry, I'm cut you off there, but one thing I want to add though is I will have incremental goals along the way. So I'll say, okay, if that's probably going to take me 20 years, like no bullshit, it probably will, on that, for them to be able to grow up and really have me to have that much of an impact on the company. Yeah. So let's say it's a 10 to 20 year goal. See how I keep going down? I started at 30, now I'm at 10. What are all those other steps that I feel like are going to be important? Because you have to have your small wins as well. I have to have my weekly wins. I have to have a monthly win. We do these OKRs. So objective key results, and so we have to figure out in our first quarter what our objective key results are in our company. So it just helps you break up the year as well to make sure, are you on that path or not? And so I would do that all the way up to my 5 year of getting see, I was going down to 5.
I love it. It's like shrinking.
Yeah. But seriously, like I think that's also important. So anyone listening, that's also a strategy that I make sure that I implement, that even though it's a fun grand goal, you have to be very specific and strategic.
It keeps you in check, and it keeps you, I think, on the path, and you can just, it's important, right?
Exactly.
To help you navigate.
Yeah.
Wow, you are impressive, lady. I'm so like, it's amazing to take you in like this. I just want to ask, when you started Women of Impact, do you remember, how long has it been now?
About 5 months.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Pretty,
because I feel like you've just been pumping out so much amazing. I'm serious.
Thank
so
you.
much great content. I
think it was
watched
August. What is that? No, it's probably a little longer than 5 months. So that was that 7 months.
Do math, girl.
Yeah, I know.
I'm an artist.
This is why I didn't study math at school and I went into film.
That was my sister, the artist. Wow, that's impressive to me.
Thank you.
So what was your biggest, did you have that, all that you just shared right now?
Yeah.
Did you already have that vision when you started Women of Impact, or was it a different thing that then now has grown to?
Yeah. Well, so this is a fun story to tell. And it involves your girl, Kerry.
Yeah.
So, initially it was, I went and saw Wonder Woman. So we've got Impact Theory. The content's doing really great. Tom and I are talking about that next phase of our company. We realize it has to be narrative. It has to be storytelling. We have to build a studio that rivals Disney. Like, all right, that's the mission. We're on board. And I go and see Wonder Woman. And I freaking love it. And I leave there and I'm like, this is badass. Like, I love her. I've got, I wear a Wonder Woman necklace. I've got I shave, I think you said at the beginning, I shave the Wonder Woman, I shave the design in the back of my head. Yes. I shave the Wonder Woman symbol in my hair sometimes. And so I really embody it. And I saw the movie and I loved it. Anyway, the next day, I didn't feel any different. Like, Wonder Woman hadn't changed my life. It didn't give me tools or tactics to help improve my real life. And that's when I was like, okay, while it's empowering for maybe an hour or 2 or 3 hours after I've watched it, but it doesn't actually help me. And so going back to my mission of really helping people and doing content, I went, okay, what's the no bullshit answer to helping people, and what is today's Wonder Woman like? Because if you know the story of Wonder Woman, she was created by Greek gods in World War II. Now let me tell you, my life cannot be more different than that. I may have been created by Greek, but not necessarily Greek gods. So I was like, okay, well, it's great fiction, but it doesn't resonate with who I am. And so how do I blend the two? And I was like, you know what? The Wonder Women of today are the women we're surrounded by, the women that I'm around. It's the women with the real stories. So when I was like, who's the person that I had to turn to right now that I was like, they need to be a superhero? It was Kerry Walsh Jennings. Oh. Because I was like, I think just had recently been on our show as well. So she was very fresh in my mind as well. And I was like, she's so authentic. And when you look at her life, the truth is she's created and achieved incredible things. You look at her, she looks like Wonder Woman, right? Yeah. She's tall, she's powerful. But you talk to her and you hear the real her. You hear the failures, the fuck ups, the mess ups, the mistakes. You hear all of that in her. And she says it with utter pride, like that's her strength, that's what's gotten her to where she is. And I was like, that's today's superhero. That's the women we need to be looking up to. That's the type of people that our younger generation need to look up to, because they can see it's attainable. They can see it's possible. We're not trying to paint a perfect picture. They can see that in failure can come great things. And so I was like, that's it. That's fucking it. So I literally, I think it was like that night, I texted her and I was like, Kerry, girl, I need to pitch you something. Here it is. What do you think? And she was like, I think it's such and the funny thing, as I'm sending it to her, I'm thinking I'm asking her, but she's just like, oh my God, Lisa, this is amazing. Yes, you've got to do it. And I'm like, no, girl, I want you as my first superhero. And she's like, are you shitting me? Like, she was amazing. She was so wonderful. And so that's where it actually all started. So I was like, all right, I'm going to put this book together. It's going to be 15 incredible women. I'm going to turn them into superheroes using their real stories to show that the strength, your superpower is in falling, failing, messing up. And you can use that to really be freaking badass. And so I started on this path. And so I'm like, all right, Kerry, I'm going to come over. I'm going to interview you. And I'll use the interview and then write the story and develop your character. She's like, amazing. So as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, I definitely should record it. And then I was like, well, this could actually be interesting. Like that maybe one day I'll put it out because people may want to hear the interview that I did that came with the book. Yeah. And I was like, well, if I'm putting out an interview, should I just interview other women as well? I may as well do a podcast. And so it literally went to, okay, I'm doing a podcast. And so I turn around to my husband and I'm like, babe, I really want to do a podcast because I feel like, you know, people want to hear more and more from these incredible women that I'm feeling blessed to be around, and feel selfish that I'm keeping all the amazing information that they're sharing with me private. I think I really want to do a podcast for women. He's like, babe, that's amazing, but why the hell are you not filming it? And I was like, well, I just don't have the bandwidth. He's like, look, you've got a studio, you've got the team, you know what you're doing. Like, just freaking put a camera up there, would you? Because having a video format can really help you take it to the next level. Yes. So I was like, all right, I'll just put one camera up. Well, it turned into a YouTube channel, an Instagram page, 6 camera setup with a slider, a crew, a team, and so that was a very long story on saying how I ended up doing the Women of Impact show. It all started with this book that I'm still compiling together and putting together, and we've got some badass women writers on board. In fact, I just read one of my last iterations of Kerry's script last night, so I was going to ping her today and let her know I want to like show her, and now we're looking for female artists to do the iteration of her design as a superhero, so I'm so freaking excited.
So rad.
But to be honest, again, going back to like the no bullshit, if you really want to affect people, I get that one avenue isn't going to be enough. So even with the talk show that I now do with the Women of Impact show, like I recognize that's one part of the mission. The book is another part of the mission. Then further on, I definitely want to merchandise, because I love wearing merchandise. Like just the logo around my neck makes me feel strong. So how do we do this with all these other superheroes that I'm developing and allow the fan base to be able to choose? That's the superhero I resonate most with, and so that's the person I want to see develop into a story, maybe an animation, maybe a TV show, maybe a movie. So maybe one day you guys are going to say you're going to go watch, the Kerry Walsh on the big screen as a fucking superhero, using real world, implementing subconsciously little strategies and tactics on how you actually better your life through that.
Girl, damn.
So that's the mission.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so powerful.
Thanks.
What's the biggest challenge for you right now in everything that you're creating and working on?
Yeah, I get passionate about things, and the problem is sometimes I'm passionate about too many things, and we haven't actually spoken about it, but like I've had massive health issues for the last 3 years. I don't want to go, we can talk about it, but it's actually a long story. But many years of bad dieting and overuse of antibiotics left my stomach to pretty much what felt like it ruptured. And so for almost a year, I could barely eat. So my hair was falling out, my nails were brittle. And here I am owning one of the largest nutrition companies in the world. So emotionally, I really struggled. I hid my health issues for a long time from people because I didn't want to be judged and like, oh, well, she owns Quest and here she is, she can't even eat her own product. And so that was a massive growth period for me as well, to be okay with it and say, like, you have to own your situation, and you have to fight through it, and I'm not going to give up. And now what was your question?
No, it was, what was the biggest challenge right now?
So having those health issues, and still I've come a long way. I can now eat. I still have to cook myself pretty much all the time, but I've been able to gain weight and work out, and I can really eat now. But one of the biggest things is stress. And I'm the type of person where you break my leg and you tell me I still have to run a mile, I'll run the mile. And so I'm not very good at assessing what's good for my body. and what's not. And because I have the type of mind that can keep pushing. And I know that about, going back to like knowing ourselves, like I know that about myself. And so I recognize that with the spirits that I have and the ferocity that I put into my work actually is really bad for my health. So I have to look at myself. Like, I don't like the word balance. I don't like being in, you know, balance with like my personal life, my business. Like, that doesn't resonate with me. I don't want that.
I don't believe there's such a thing. Sorry.
Yeah, and look, if that is what you're looking for, go after it. Great. It's just, I don't want that in my life. It doesn't make me feel good. That's not something that I love. And so knowing that, knowing all these dreams and passions and desires that I'm trying to build towards and my goals, and I know the work it's going to take to do it, and yet I can't do as much as I want to because I have to be conscious of my health. So that's something I'm actually struggling with right now, because it's the heart versus the mind.
Yeah, well, you know, I think that I want to say something about balance, because I feel like they're also like, it's an old model. I've reframed what balance really means to me. So I'm an athlete by way of life, solopreneur turning entrepreneur, right? Like all these, I have to manage so much. Yeah. One thing that is absolutely non-negotiable to me is my health. It's my entire, when I say health, I don't just mean my abs. I love my abs, but I mean my mindset, my well-being, right? Because for me, it's a formula. It's like, well, if this isn't intact, none of this matters. I've had 3 knee surgeries. What happens? You can't do shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just one example. So, you know, I think that for me, my idea of balance is when you're over here in this space, I'm here with you right now. I'm all in. I'm in work. I'm all in. And when I leave and it's time to give body that same acknowledgement, respect, and presence, I'm all in.
Was that natural to you, or have you had to train yourself to do that?
I don't, probably training is a good word. And I think this is where it comes from. I think because I've always had an immense amount of self-love, and I have been through my own health journey where with the knee came the weight gain, and then what the fuck, I had an 8-pack growing up, an athlete, and now I have to, like, how do I get to homeostasis? And then that was a whole journey that ends up being amazing, because it's why I'm able to, you know, offer so much knowledge in this space now, right? But it was always a priority to me, always. Like, I've never had this, I've never believed in this idea of, I'm just going to want, like, I have this vision, but it's just going to stay there. I'm like, no, fuck that. If I want it, and if it resonates with me, whatever it is, this vision of myself, my health, my business, my relationship, I'm going to fucking do what I got to do to get after it. So, you know, then that's where, like, maybe the training part comes in, where, you know, it's like, okay, well, also I see a lot out there, especially now, where it's like you have all these experts and people who are like, you know, maybe there's a lot of entrepreneurs or people who are like killing it in the business space, money. And then the reveal comes out. I've been depressed this whole time. Now I have cancer. Yeah. My relationship was falling apart. But on the front end, it's like everything is so, and that never resonates with me. And I just I have to be careful here. I'll go in a rabbit hole. Authenticity is so fucking important to me. So if I'm going to be someone who's, you know, really exuding this example of essentially a lifestyle, mindset, lifestyle, all of it's connected. Well, I'm not going to be on the back end, like behind the scenes, like falling apart. Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah. I got to take care of myself. Is it easy? Hell no. I'm consistent because I care. I'm committed. My why is strong. But, you know, going back to the balance thing, it's really, when I'm with my family, I'm not in work mode in my mind. I depart. And maybe the tricky part is, you know, the time in each space, right? Because when there's a lot of work to get done, then like, that tears into your family time or your relationship time or whatever. That's the tricky part. Yeah. But it tricky and challenging doesn't scare me. Right. You know, it just means you got to be smart. You got to be effective. You have to be efficient. All that shit just makes me a better person anyways. So I think the idea of balance, as most people see it, is like, oh, I have a little bit over here and over here, and it's all like rationed out perfectly.
Yeah.
Fuck no, it's not.
Yeah.
Some days it's like 5% fucking relationship and 95% work or what. But I think the way that I can keep it all in check is I constantly zoom out. I believe that the truest like perspective is bird's eye, right? So if we're looking from over here and I'm like, have I been too far into work where I've been, taken away from my health, but that's like, it's a dance, right? And so I think it's important to say that, just because it's not to say that there's no such thing as balance. It's just reframing this old model of fucking balance.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. And I don't look for balance. I heard Lisa Nichols, she was actually on one of our shows, and she once said, like, I don't seek balance, I seek harmony. I was like, fuck yes. Like, that hit me so hard.
Such a
because
good word.
Look, a lot of people may seek balance, and I think that no matter what, you need to do what's right for you.
I agree.
Right? So, but for me, when everyone's like, oh, but it's not balanced, like, I eventually was just like, but I don't want that. Like, look at how I live my life. I have 25 people that come to my house every day. My husband and I, when we communicate, pretty much from Monday to Friday, it's about business. And we've designed our lives purposely to be like that, because that is our harmony. And again, like, his balance or his harmony and my harmony actually is slightly different. So now we have to get together and we go, okay, so how do we fix or make sure that we're both harmonized. Thank you. That's the word. Because he, let's say, for instance, I need to connect with him at least once a week. So I need date night with my husband. He doesn't. And I don't take that personally. I just think, like, that's just not him. He's very excited and motivated towards his goal and his business, and he loves me, and we sleep together every night. I mean,
no, I understand what you're saying.
I lie my head on his chest every single night and go to bed, and we kiss each other goodnight. Like, we have the connection. But he doesn't need date night every week. He's like, yeah, you can go a couple of weeks. He's like, I see you every day, babe. And I'm like, but you're my business partner every day. And he doesn't, it's not quite the same for him. So we've just decided, okay, for me, I need it. He's very receptive. Look, we need to do what is best for our relationship. And so every week I take responsibility, kind of going back to the roles of what we said. It's my role. We've agreed that I'm the one that has the compass and the awareness of our romance. And so when I need a date night with him, I reach out to his assistant, I block it in his calendar, I let him know, hey babe, we're going out for dinner on this night, we're going to go to this restaurant, or I'll say, hey, it's meaningful, I need you to book the restaurant because it's meaningful to me. And I, no joke, actually gotten out his phone and put an alarm in his phone to remind him to book the restaurant, because I know he's forgetful. So now, instead of testing him to see if he's going to remember, which, let's face it, then I'm just setting him up for failure because I know him well enough to know he'll forget. I go, well, I actually want him to actually book it. I don't want him to fail. So how can I help him? So I set an alarm in his phone. He booked the restaurant and we go out for dinner. And so our harmony may be different, but we are always harmonized.
It's, you know what? It's so on your terms.
Exactly.
And that's so fucking badass. It's not this idea that you guys are living from. That wasn't even who created the ideas anyways. Right.
Right.
Where does that shit come from?
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I love that. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, girl. Okay. There's so much to talk about with you. Can we do this again? I have another question.
Yeah, of course.
I want to talk about health and beauty, because that's a whole area with you that
if you want to do like a version 2 or round 2.
Yes, we have to.
It's my excuse to hang out with you guys.
I know. I love it.
Come on now.
More of that in this new year. I want to ask you one final question, because Black Belt Beauty is all about, reaching for and hopefully living from the highest expression of yourself, right? And having a life that reflects it. From where you are now, this will be fun to visit later.
Yeah.
What is that visual? What is that highest expression of Lisa from where you are now? And what's one thing that you do every single day to keep yourself driving towards that vision of yourself?
Ooh. So explain to me, sorry, break down when you say my higher self now.
Highest expression of self.
Yeah,
Like,
what do you...
who are you? Like, what are 3 words that kind of lead your day? Like, what are the intangibles? What have you... Roxanne, the highest expression of myself, like, she is absolutely resilient. She is incredibly courageous.
Okay.
She, you know, like I have
I think it's I'm brave enough to not be embarrassed in public about failing and doing dumb shit. Owning my mistakes, owning my insecurities. That's been one thing that, let's say 10 years ago, I never would have done. And I've really worked hard at it. And it's not like work hard at making mistakes or failing, but it's just like owning them with pride and telling people about them, and being okay if people judge me and not caring. Like, that's so freaking hard. And look, I'm not saying I'm perfect, because there are definitely days, but when it comes to my business specifically, if people don't agree or like it, I'm fine with it. I'm like, then I'm not your peeps. Like, that's okay. I don't take it personally. That's been very hard for me to overcome, but I think that I'm definitely at a place now where I've gotten okay with it. And because I fail a lot, I figured, well, I may as well use it to empower me. Otherwise, it's going to otherwise I'll never leave my house. You know?
I agree.
So
that's powerful.
Thank you. So that's definitely like my higher self, I would say. But the day to day, it really is reminding myself that it's okay to fail. Like, and I know kind of like the failure thing is a big thing that I've been repeating, but it's interesting because I really think that's the most important part of anyone's journey. And I have to tell myself every day, because I definitely don't want anyone listening to think that I've broken all these barriers and now I'm on the other side. No, it's like there are days that, just like anyone else, I feel insecure. I'm sure you
Absolutely.
do too.
Fuck
that
yeah.
You feel like you're not capable, that you feel like you're not competent enough, that you feel like you can't hold your own. That's going to be okay. That's natural. And so if I have those days, it is important to remind myself who I want to be, where I've gone, where I'm going to go, and who I am today. Like, I can safely say, like, I'm a good person. And that's very important for me to say with pride, because I don't bullshit myself. If I've done something and I've got into an argument with someone, or I've said something that after I'm like, you know what, that wasn't called for, or I think I crossed the line there. Like, it's very important for me to apologize and say that to their face and own my mistakes. So to be able to say, like, I feel like I'm a good person is a big deal for me to say, because there have definitely been times, like I said earlier, I've been a terrible boss. I've been, a stress ball. Like, when my health first went to hell, my emotions were terrible. You can imagine when you don't eat as a woman. Like, so I wasn't a very nice wife. I would, snap at him a lot. And so there are moments in my life that I haven't been proud of, and it's okay, because I've learned from them. So just remind myself every day of what I'm doing and who I am.
And that you're a beautiful person and you own your shit. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you say beautiful person, and I was just talking to someone about humble bragging, and I think that, like, we were like, I had a girl on my show, and she was talking about, she did a kind of a humble brag challenge, and I was like, you know what, it's so freaking powerful, because us women, we don't sit down enough and just say, I'm proud of this. But we do with kids, which is always really interesting as well. Like, you don't find no one's embarrassed to brag about their children. But let me tell you, if you sat down there right now and you were like, girl, my podcast just hit this amount of things, and look how cool I am, isn't this amazing? I would respect it. Yeah. But you're going to get some hate for it.
Yeah. I've said it actually on an epic podcast episode before. I asked my guest, who's incredible, and he is a high performer, but we're in this space of talking about high performance. I'm like, let me ask you, are you a high performer? And he's like, well, I basically, like, I like people to put the claim on me.
Right.
And I said, okay, hold on with that, because I debunk that shit all the time. I'm like, ask me, am I? Fuck yeah, I'm a high performer. I am not. I don't buy into this whole, like, let me shrink. Mm-hmm. Now listen, let me shrink so then you can see me as, like, oh, I'm so humble, and I'm so because my humbleness is how I affect people, how I respect people, how I carry myself through kindness. But by no means do I need to sit here and pretend that, you know, I'm not being the human that I am or proud of the person that I am, or I don't buy into that. And I don't, you know, if I aspire to be a mom one day, but I will make sure that my child has that. And like you said, it's easier, like with, you know, you were just saying it's harder as individuals, but like to your kid. But I think it is so important to continuously pass that on, that you don't have to go around and be like, puff your chest, like, you know, flip the hair, like you're fine. There's a difference of like carrying yourself and expressing yourself in a way of, I'm better than you. Yeah. And I think that's the thing right there.
I was going to say, I think it comes down to your intention.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Is your intention to make someone feel badly about themselves by saying it?
Right.
Or is your intention to empower them?
Yes.
And to be honest, to empower yourself. Because you know what? Me saying this out loud does empower me. Yes. Right. Like, so if you're, it all comes down to the intention. And you know, right? Yes. You know, when you meet people that their intention is to try and brag so much so that they feel good about themselves. And maybe it's because they don't feel good about themselves.
Oh, it's, you know what? I'm going to throw this in because I think it's such an important piece. One of the biggest pivotal points for me in my life, like on a self-development, you know, the whole saying of like, I don't compete against anybody. It's like,
I compete against myself.
I compete against myself.
Yeah.
You know, you versus you.
Yeah.
And I used to like write that, like, when I train, like you versus you. And then one day I'm like, no, that's not even fucking true, Roxanne. That's not true.
Wow.
Because when shit gets hard, in training, in life, the last thing that I'm doing is like, come on. I'm like, come on, Roxy, baby, come on. Like, I literally fucking talk to myself, and I talk out loud, straight up. Come on, Roxy, girl, Roxanne, or if shit's like really stressful, I'm like, Roxanne, you, in the mirror, out loud, you know you got this, or I'm so fucking proud of you.
Yeah.
When that shit changed with that perspective, that voice, that whole dialogue, everything fucking changed. Because that, going back to being your best friend, and like, I've had that concept with me. I've been writing for the majority of my life. I've expressed it as a teenager, but now I'm living it like on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And you know what? It just makes the hard not only easier, but actually almost more enjoyable. Like, I'm not doing this alone. Like, I got this bad motherfucker in me, and like she supports me. If she believes in me, I believe in me too. So what? Let's do this. Like, that's literally.
Yeah, I love that so much. I can so see you as well. Come on, Roxanne. In fact, 2 days ago, so I'm doing the cold water challenge. So do you know the Iceman?
Well, yeah, Wim Hof. So I went through a whole period of cold showers straight from bed.
Oh, did you?
And like not warm to cold.
Yeah.
Like I've talked about it on the podcast. Yeah. So much, because it's not even, the physiological benefits are profound. Like, they're so amazing.
Yeah.
This is why I did it, because who the fuck wants to do that?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Oh my God, I love that.
My alarm that said eat.
Yes, that was so brilliant.
So going back to like making sure I take care of my body, I know myself well enough, and I know that I work myself to death.
I know you.
And because of my health, I set an alarm to tell myself to eat, because I get lightheaded and it doesn't serve them my business. So I make sure that I get the amount of calories I need in my body. But that's just because I'm going obviously my health issues, and so I have to be very on top of it. Sorry, you were saying something so profound.
No, I was just saying that, like, who wants to get up and take a cold shower? Well, nobody. And I'm a huge believer that we got to get uncomfortable. We got to go towards the things that you don't want to fucking do. And when you can start your day with it, guess what else you're doing? You're starting your day with a fucking win.
With a win. Bam. Boom. Boom, girl. It's so true, though. I'm loving it. So, I'm that person that, like, I want my warm tea and my slippers, and I like to snuggle under the covers. Like, I get cold a lot and very easily, and I'm that person. And so when we interviewed Wim Hof and he came on our show, and Tom's like, I'm going to do it. And I just looked at him and I was like, no way. And I was like, wow, like, I've stopped myself stepping out of my comfort zone, and this isn't good. And so for 2019, my goal this year actually is to step out of my comfort zone at least once a month, on a big scale. And so the other day I stepped out of my comfort zone, and Gary Vee invited my husband and I to one of his events, and my husband couldn't go. And so I was like, oh, but I really want to go. And it's like, screw it. I would never normally reply to someone and just invite myself, but I did. I just wrote back to Gary and I was like, hey Gary, do you mind if I still come? And he's like, no, not at all. And so I literally by myself, like got on a plane, went to this event, knew nobody except Gary Vee. And so again, I was like, I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't have told myself I need to step out of my comfort zone. So it's kind of making that declaration to myself and then going back to the win, like you said, it's like I gave myself the win because I told myself, Lisa, you need to step out of your comfort zone. And I did.
Ah, that's so sick.
And so with the shower thing, God.
I know. I just want you to know, I saw that post and I want you to know that it literally inspired me greatly because one of my goals being the introvert is you gotta get out and go to, not just get out to get out. Everything has to have intention and meaning, but like go to some, if there's some kind of event that really resonates and maybe you can meet some great people and like get out. It's not comfortable. I saw that post and I just want you to know that it literally impacted me in that way. Of I'm like,
wow.
Fuck yeah. And you called it out and put it out there. Like,
because that never used to be me. I would have been, I used to get bullied in school. I was teased. I didn't have many friends. So I was like, the idea of going to a party alone when I knew nobody in a different city, right? Like all these things where like, and I invited myself pretty much. It wasn't even like, you know, like we really want you to come. It was like pretty much for Tom. And it was a big deal for me. And it was one of those moments where I'm like, this is a thing that used to hold me back, but I used to play it safe, or I did used to play it safe. And so now I'm just like, what other new experiences can I do? So when I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to do the cold shower. I'm like, well, why hell no? Because I'm scared of cold water. Lisa, you're not going back to the self-talk. So I'm standing in the shower day one, right? And Tom's actually filming me, which is hilarious, like through the fuzzy glass so you can't see anything. But he's filming me and he's like, all right, babe, just turn it on cold because I didn't do the hot first. And then I'm dry and I'm turning the water cold. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like, babe, I can't do it. And I was like, all right, Lisa, stop being worse. Babe, I can't do it. Lisa, stop being worse. And so literally out loud, my dialogue was going back and forth. But it was interesting. I was telling him I couldn't do it, but I was telling myself I could.
Oh my, that's amazing.
Isn't that interesting?
That's really interesting.
I didn't actually dawn on me until I was just saying it just a second.
Wow.
But I was like, babe, I can't do it. Lisa, yes, you can. Babe, I can't do it. Lisa,
it's like
yes,
you needed something to push against. I don't know.
And then I stopped saying, babe, I can't do it. And I was like, Lisa, just fucking do it. And I just screamed at myself. And I went, Rah! And I like let out a roar. And he started laughing. And I ended up 3 days in a row saying to myself, Lisa, you can do it. So I love that you said that because there is something about saying it out loud to yourself and using your name.
That's the magic, I'm telling you. And it's like, and I say it with so much love and there's so much encouragement, but it's like, Roxanne, because listen, you gotta eat. I'm like, we gotta eat. We can keep going.
My girl's taking care of me.
The thing is that the one relationship guaranteed that we're all in from birth to finish is fucking with ourselves.
Yeah.
So then, in knowing that, if we got to do this thing called life, and everyone's life is different, adventure, crazy, hard, whatever. I mean, how do you want to have, like, what does that relationship, how do you want to feel in that relationship? Do you want it to be loving? Do you want it to support you? And I know it's like not always as easy as that might sound, like there's work. But when you turn that corner, when you find the ways, like for me, it's truly speaking out loud to myself. I mean, I have a lot of different modalities, just my journaling, my writing, all that. But there's something to be said about the speaking out loud, addressing my name, and doing it with so much love. And it's real. Like, it's not like I'm babying myself.
Right.
Like, I'm fucking real with myself. Right. Like, straight up. That reverence. So I just feel like that really helps, first of all, everything, but it keeps a self relationship that you're in for the rest of your fucking life, like just feeling good, like supportive, and you know. Can
I be honest?
Yeah.
I'm going to share a little secret. Please. Sometimes I don't always be nice to myself, and it serves me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you like? So,
and I say that on purpose because you need to do what is right for you. I'm just going to keep repeating that. So for people who if they find negative talk doesn't serve them, you should stop it immediately.
Yeah.
But for me, sometimes it actually serves me. So I allow myself to do it. So we call it like the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
So 80% of the time, I'm picking myself up. You're great, Lisa. You can do this. You know you've got this. And the other 20, I'm like, fucking stop being a pussy.
Yeah.
And get off your ass and stop whining. And right, like
Yeah.
I actually do that. Like, I'll say, like, right now you're acting like you're weak. Are you weak? And it's like, no, I'm not fucking weak. If you're not weak, and I will have that conversation with myself, and it's powerful.
Sure.
And I love it.
I feel the love.
I feel it. I just can't do the negative talk that actually is self-destructive.
Yes, and there is a difference.
Massive difference.
Yeah, you're kicking yourself in the ass like a real coach. Like,
correct.
Lisa, I'm fucking. Are you can back down right now?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's different than like, oh my god, you're being weak right now.
Or like, you're worthless. I would never do
Yes.
that to myself. I would never say that type of thing, because that is demeaning.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No. Yeah. Well, yeah. I connected those dots.
Yeah.
We're like, we both need to eat.
And what's funny is we can keep going.
I know. Seriously.
It's just the longer we leave it till we eat, the more delirious we'll start getting, and then just like the louder we get, and like.
And hey, the more fun traffic gets for all of you. Let's be real.
That's true. Yeah, hell yeah,
Cleaning
guys.
the house just got so much more fun. No, okay, Lisa, I love you. I loved you already, but fucking A, like shit, girl. And this is like, we're skimming the surface. Let's be real.
Yeah, buddy. Let's do round 2.
Please.
I'm game. You know
yes.
I am.
No, that's a must. Thank
yeah,
you.
and maybe your audience can even write in, or I'm not sure how they contact you. Maybe they can somehow like see what other things they'd love us to chat about.
Yes,
or...
no, we'll put it. Yes, questions for Lisa. I'm going to make sure that that's part of the program.
Awesome.
Before we do the next one, I'm so inspired. You left so many gems out there for everyone. I know that people are going to be, okay, how do they follow you? How do they stay in touch with you?
Yeah, please. So personally, with all of my everyday stories and weird fun stories that I tell, at Lisa Bilyeu, that's Bilyeu. I'm really only on Instagram, to be honest. We do our main show Impact Theory on YouTube, where we have incredible influencers that come on, and my husband's the host. That's actually the umbrella company that I run, and that is actually on YouTube under his name, Tom Bilyeu. And then if you're looking for female empowerment stuff, you can go to Women of Impact, Instagram and YouTube, and you see all these incredible women that I've interviewed, and all the like. Our Instagram page is a lot of fun, actually. We have a lot of fun finding fun unknown facts about women that you may not have known in history, and so yeah, we have a lot of fun.
I love both your Instagrams.
Thank you.
And everything will be in the show notes, of course. So
amazing,
girl. Thank you so much with all my heart, with all of my being. You're incredible, and to be continued.
Ditto, girl. I think what you're doing is amazing. I love your podcast. I love the name. I love you. I think what you're doing is crazy and empowering and inspiring. And the only other ask I have is one day you're gonna have to teach me how to do some cool ass like choke holds and arm bars and shit like that. So in case your fans want to see, maybe we can film it as well. But like I'm so dying for you to teach me that kind of stuff, and just like all of a sudden one day scare Tom and just get him in an arm bar without him expecting it.
I love it. Let's do it. We'll do a little makeup first, because I think we both like to. Do you wear makeup when you train?
No.
Oh, really? I do.
Do you really?
Fuck yeah.
Wow,
because I like to look at myself like I'm pulled together. Like I feel like I'm a fucking like a campaign in my.
Well, I'm a mess. I have a gym in my house. So I literally wear sometimes like that. I will look down on myself and I'm like, did you really wear this to the gym? It's like I don't even wear a bra, or like it's like I'm a complete mess in the gym.
I love it.
But we should work out together in a way.
Yes.
I'll put some makeup on and and a bra. Look a bit nice for you.
Fuck, girl, I love you. Okay, so much more coming. You guys, you know what to do. Follow her. Everything is in the show notes. Thank you for spending your time here with us, and to be continued.
To be continued.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode, you guys. If you loved it, please share it on your social. Throw it up on your Instagram stories and tag me. I'm at Black Belt Beauty. I am also at Roxy Look, RoxyLook. I love connecting with you guys. This is a conversation that I want to just continue growing with you guys. So if you feel inspired, to hit me up, do so in that space. I always enjoy hearing from you. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so by rating it and reviewing it via iTunes. It's such supportive help, you guys. It really helps the visibility of this podcast. So I appreciate and thank you in advance for doing that. And last but not least, if you are interested in starting your own podcast, or perhaps you already have one and you need help with, editing your audio and the production of it, I cannot recommend my producers enough. Resonate Recordings, you guys, they are the bomb. I rely on them. They are an absolute supportive tool to me and my podcast. So check them out and let them know that Black Belt Beauty sent you. And on that note, you guys, I'm signing off with all my love and always looking forward to catching you on the next.